And unfortunately, there is an allegation that history people are lagging behind as far as usage of science and technology is concerned in their subject. In fact, that is one of the probably maybe allegation. But however, in the age of competition, in the age of challenges that we are facing in the area of knowledge world, we need to update ourselves and we need to present our lectures, present all our material, and we need to make our classes lively, and we need to impress upon not only our students, but also the general public that how history is not behind the usage of science and technology. So towards that, we have to ponder over some of the issues that how history is making use of science in its everyday presentation. Technology is a part of historical presentation. And towards that, I am also presenting you a few small 2-3 videos. You have to spare some time and you have to watch that carefully so that we can realize that how far science can be used, better utilized in the presentation of history and historical knowledge. Well, coming to the concept of the role of science in historical research. You know, the role of science in historical research is multifaceted and involve a variety of approaches and techniques. In the olden days, even understand a simple phenomena of human action that to his leaping changes towards progress have all been regularized and scientific knowledge that further the historical research are some examples of how science can contribute to historical research are presented here. Because a person who is away from the scientific knowledge, a person who cannot use technology in the adaptation of his presentations of history and historical lessons will be rather redundant, and he will be away from the component of historical area of knowledge. And that is why we come across that every person's mind is its own thinking. We come across historians are not away from this scientific thinking. We have our own thinking process. We have our own knowledge of scientific analysis also. So we come across mind is a business. We have a business mind in the sense science and technology are very much part and parcel of a historian's mind. We need not to be afraid of to say that we do not know science and technology in historical adaptation. The concepts of ancient period, medieval period, and modern periods, everything are adopted within the comprehension of science, and that can be seen as such. Particularly coming to the archaeological sciences. Archaeological sciences are more practical in character, but we come across science and technology are used much more effectively in these sciences. And not that only archaeological sciences, even other historical data, historical information is also going to be shared that I am going to present here. But coming to archaeological sources, we can say archaeological sciences, suddenly radio, carbon dating, isotope analysis and DNA analysis provides important tools for dating and interpreting archaeological remains. These techniques can be used by historians to understand and manage culture and social man's culture and social structure of past societies and to trace the movements and migrations of ancient people. Some of the archaeological sciences and techniques that are commonly used in historical research are presented here. Well, we come across it is only a beginning that history. The beginning of history is something that we can trace only through archaeology because the footprints of human culture, human civilization are embedded as far as historical what's called knowledge is concerned. Well, to begin with, we can say that how for excavations forms one of the most important thing as far as usage of this data is concerned. It is a very, very important business of a historian to what's called bring out those things which are beneath what's called earth or what's called covered by mud or whatever material for that matter. Very carefully, in a very, very systematic manner, these excavations will have to be carried on. And these excavations will reveal not only the footprints of history, but also the evolutionary process of historian that we are using today. And that is one of the most important things. I can give innumerable examples for that. For example, Indus Valley civilization the excavations at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, and even Kalibhangan for that matter, and many more other civilizations also, like the Egyptian civilization for that matter, the Yellow River civilization, even Mesopotamia, Babylonia, all these things. That not that itself, not only that, even in the local areas also we come across Stone Age culture is there, and then what is called cave cultures are there, and Aboriginal tribe cultures are there. All these things are today presented through the excavations only, and historical data is culled because of these what's called excavations. That is a very important thing. So towards that, to identify the material and to process that material, we follow a method, and that method is called as radiocarbon dating method. It is also considered to be sometimes called as carbon-14 method. The carbon dating method, this is a technique that measures the amount of carbon-14 that is present in a material to determine their age. The technique is commonly used in archaeological sciences to date objects and materials from the past. So what exactly this material belongs to, what is the date or what is the time of this material that is available to us, and what was the shape and size and everything, and then the age of that, and all these things are now relied upon, and it is considered to be one of the most important thing. Now in police sciences, we come across even the autopsy that is being done, or what's called even detections that are done based on these radiocarbon method only, or carbon-14 method only. So we come across radiocarbon dating is a technique used to determine the age of organic materials like wood, charcoal, bone, and shell that are to be about 50,000 years old. The techniques that are followed on the fact that carbon-14, a radioactive isotope of carbon, is continuously produced. Earth's environment or atmosphere is carbureted into a living organism that are found in every human being. We are made up of panchendriyas, we say, panchendriyas and panchabhutas. The panchabhutas are considered to be the earth, the air, the wind and everything, and the mud, everything. And they all contain the segments of those things which are considered to be the proofs of that. Analyzing this data will lead us to understand some of the most intricate aspects which we otherwise cannot understand for our naked eye. And history can be more and more effective and more only when it is being analyzed through this radiocarbon method. When an organism dies, the carbon-14 begins to decay at a known rate, and that is considered to be carbon-14 remaining in the material that we measure to determine the age of that material, or what's called. This technique is accurate to within a few decades of samples up to about 6 years, or what's called 6,000 years, within a few centuries, or samples up to 50,000 years old. So the data is very much available that can be stored in that organism, in that material for so many number of years until 50,000 years and old. And now we have many more techniques also beyond this radiocarbon method, which goes beyond 50,000 years also. And some of these are very, very important for the understanding of the footprints of historical development, the civilizational development, the movement of the people from one continent to the other continent, and other things also we are going to find here. Radiocarbon dating has been an important tool in archaeology, allowing researchers to accurately date organic materials and to build chronological past of societies and cultures. Techniques have been used for dating, date everything from ancient rock paintings to Egyptian and so on and so forth. All these things are considered to be very important thing. The scientific analysis that has been followed in this radiocarbon method is analyzed in this picture by scientists, and even archaeologists are following this method. The dating of the bone, for example, the bone belongs to animal, whether it belongs to a human being, whether it belongs to which type of this animal or whatever it is. The every what's called concept of the details regarding the identity of that bone, identity of that age, identity of many other things can also be seen here by further going into this carbon dating method, which is considered to be a very, very important process. This video is one of those aspects which analyze us, because we need to have some knowledge of this carbon dating method, and this carbon dating method is considered to be most prominent aspect as far as civilization and what's called deciding the age of the civilizations are concerned. So we come across now historians are very much ahead in the aspects of analyzing the exact date, exact time factor, exact space, and all the other things relating to those things which are decayed and what's called died down long, long ago. And now we are at it, and we are finding out everything that is important. So, as a part of this radiocarbon method, we come across one of the important sub-aspects called as isotope analysis. So, what is this isotope analysis? Isotope analysis is a technique that examines the chemical composition of materials to determine their origins and then what's called the movements and migrations. For example, isotopic analysis of the trees reveals information about the diet, the geographic origins, and then of the ancient period, and so on and so forth. So these so many details are projected here. The chemical component of this radiocarbon method that can be seen is considered to be isotopic, which is a very, very important one that need to be clubbed into the historical data analysis, which is a part of archaeology. Isotope analysis is a technique that examines the chemical composition of materials to determine their origins and to trace movements. So this is a very important one because we need to go inside that. Some of the cells and organs that are found inside will be analyzed here. And there is a technique of what is called finding out carbon. For example, we come across carbon 12 and the carbon 14 isotopes of carbons that have what is called 6 to these nutrients respectively. The content of the aspects of these objects are taken into consideration. On that basis, they are going to divide that, and the divisions will lead to what is called understanding of some of the components that are very much available within the dating process that is very much available. So we have this isotope analysis is a very significant research that is being used as a scientific methodology for the development of this historical data. This analysis also used to trace the movements of materials. How these materials, for example, whatever tools that we have today, whatever the ancient man was using, how they have been transformed into the present form. What was considered to be a nomadic aspect of usage of things is now identified into a sophisticated aspect, is analyzed, and the evolutionary process is also going to be understood. The metals and ceramics and their what's called are all found in archaeological sites. This can provide important information to what's called considered to be trade networks, economic system, and cultural exchanges that took place from the bygone ages. Bygone ages, starting from even prehistoric to the historic period to proto-historic period, and down to that ancient and medieval and modern we are going to find. This is one of the methods that is being followed as far as historical data analysis is concerned. And we come across this analysis is highly specialized technique that what's called requires specialized equipment and expertise. Well, not less than any scientific process, not less than any chemical process, not less than any physical, what's called physics, what's called laboratory that an archaeologist and a historian put together will do that. We are having so many what's called historical informations that are available all over Europe. European continent is endowed with all such material because of the development of scientific analysis through this isotope analysis that is been very much a practical aspect of historical data that is available to us. However, it has been increasingly important tool in archaeological research today, and they are shedding light on the development of historical knowledge. Archaeology being one of the sources of history, we realize that how far historical knowledge can be enriched by this scientific analysis, and that has led to the development of that. A pictographic aspect is given as far as what is the isotopic analysis, and that is being shown here by a chemical process. How the atoms within the object or chemical for that matter are expounded here. They are separated here, and they are understood and studied on the basis of the content formation of the chemicals, what's called component. The percentage of chemical component that is being seen in this isotopic chemical process will tell you the different aspects of age group and so on, so forth, which will lead us to determine some of the greater details in a very, very accurate manner. Nothing like ifs and buts there. If there is a question in history, what happened, why it happened, sometimes we'll have to ponder over that. Might have happened because of that, might have happened because of this and all these things. But this is not the case as far as chemical process of an isotope is concerned that we are going to have. So, in that process, we come across that furthering that isotope and then radiocarbon method, we try to come to another important component called as DNA analysis. Yeah, DNA analysis has become a very modern concept today. Every person, even a layman, also speaks about that. DNA analysis has become what is called very, very important from the point of view of understanding the genealogy, understanding the background of the person, understanding what is called his composition, his community, and many more things as such. And now in history, this DNA analysis is considered to be very significant because to place history in order, to place history in evolutionary process, to place history and the movement of communities from one place to another place, and then movement of the goods and materials, all are very, very important. And DNA analysis is considered to be a significant process of scientific technology that is being adopted by a historian today, and a historian in combination with archaeologists are developing this science into a very sophisticated technique of developing historical data. DNA analysis can be used to identify individualistic study of genetic relationship between populations. Now, there are so many races we have. The Negroid race, the what's called Aryan race, for that matter, the Central Asian or different, whatever it is we come across, how different they are. The South Indians are different from North Indians. The Northwestern people are different from what's called middle parts of India. Why they look like that, how they look like that, what is the composition of the formation of the skin structure, and then the height of the person and the formation of what is called their occupation, etc., are because of these things that are very, very significant in evolving a detailed history of man's life in its detail, or what's called complex aspects to be made easier here, and that is being done through this DNA analysis only. And this analysis is a technique that involves studying the genetic aspects of an organism to reveal information about characteristic features relating to relationship to other organisms also. So this is some of the technical terms that are used as far as DNA analysis is concerned. A scientist who is also a trained archaeologist can look into that, and we know that how archaeology is playing a significant role in providing that information which is to be presented for history. And history classes, usage of the history classes through this process and through this analysis of scientific data will give you much more authentic information, and you can be sure of what's called presenting, what's called giving a new shape and structure to the development of history as such. So we are going to have a very important aspects of this DNA analysis, which is continued here. It has been used in a variety of archaeological researches, such as tracing the migration of ancient populations, radiological genetic organs of ancient diseases, the studying of the diversity of past societies. For example, DNA analysis has used to identify the genetic relations between some of the what's called populations like modern humans and the ancient people, trace the movements of the population across the country. What's called continents can also be seen. Some diseases, they started at one particular period of time, and they spread across some areas, and they could not go beyond that, but they subsided and they died down, but some of them are continued today in various formats. So what happened to the development of human cultures and how these human cultures ended, what made some of this component can also be understood on the basis of the analysis of the organisms that are available through this process of DNA. DNA analysis is highly specialized technique, again, which cannot be done by every person. It has to be trained one, and it has to have some tools of analysis also. And so we come across, now historians are using all these techniques, and we are at the mercy of what's called this technology to identify and to strengthen our needs as far as development of scientific process is concerned in history. DNA analysis is done in laboratory, and this laboratory process has got its own procedures, and these procedures have to be followed. That what we are today doing as far as the concept of checking our blood sugars, or what is called our BP, etc., based on the analysis of some of the elements that are found in our body, and they are examined and they are done. Similarly, we come across the body or the decay aspects, and then the material that is available, and whether it is a piece of wood for that matter, piece of rock for that matter, a piece of bone for that matter, everything are considered to be very, very significant from that point of view. So here I have a small video, just look into that, and we come across that this is a very, very significant one, and you can just listen here. Movement of goods and commodities. I'm just pausing up. I'm pausing the information. The spread of human cultures, the spread of people from one continent to other continent, the geographical locations which were there, and how we have this travel initiary that was developed in ancient period. So this is where how we have so much of sophisticated information. Now we are at the scientific procedures to explain history. We have no hesitation to say that we have technological aids, we have scientific methodology to prove the migratory history, to prove the evolution process that was developed, from where to where these generations extended, how the entire world as such seems to have been occupied by the people, and what environments are developed now or picturized today, and they are given to us, which will capture the imagination of a student or for that matter a scholar. And these things are nothing but the usage of science and the technology in the presentation of historical knowledge. Now we have a technique called as ground penetrating radar system is there, which is used for different purposes of the presentation of historical analysis. This is a geophysical technique used radar pulses to create an image of the subsurface. This technique can be used to locate buried structures and archaeological remains without disturbing the soil. There were times when people used to dig them. They used to take small brushes. They used to process these things for a long time. There used to be a lot of tear and wear things. Many times they used to lose the very much information, but now that is not the case. Now we have at our disposal this ground penetrating radar is there, GPR is there, which is also used today in military purposes also. Even today, modern military purposes are using this system, and for that, historical knowledge is also gained by what's called archaeologists, whereby they are going to excavate these informations, carefully preserving and carefully taking out everything that is being hidden inside to the satisfaction of every reader, and also for the practitioner also. It is a very, very helpful use of technology and science. This GPR works by sending electromagnetic pulses into the ground, measuring the time it takes for the pulses to reflect the back of the system. The reflections are then used to create an image of the substance, revealing the location, depth of buried structures and features. And probably if there are any students from archaeology background, they will understand. They will understand better than me how far the ground that was selected for the archaeological excavations were rude and crude at one point of time. Elevated places were shown. And now we come across Mohan Kumar, just you put off your mic. So we come across that was one of the lacunas that at one point of time people are similarly the historians and the archaeologists used to face at a juncture. But this is not the case today. Now we have so many sophisticated techniques of dating, and we have this radar system, and this radar system will definitely identify the materials inside the depth of a ground or how much depth it is there, which is extending to what and all these things. Like, for example, if you at one point of 1921-22, Indus Valley civilization was discovered without this radar system, and that is why they had to carry on so much of excavation in different places without having a clear-cut idea of where exactly and how exactly a structure existed or a location existed. But today, that is not the case as such. The historians have been equipped with that information, and this information is now proving to be very, very helpful as far as writing historical information is concerned, based upon archaeological sources. So, well, this is being explained, has been used in variety of archaeological studies, locating buried walls, floors, and foundations of ancient buildings, identifying graves and burial sites as such. Now, the dolmens which were there are the ancient man or the cave man and his body, and how he was there, how he was staying, where was he, what's called, he was buried, what is the structure of that, and everything today are automatically excavated, automatically identified. And now it is very, very important for a person like an archaeologist who will supply information for the exploration of the data that is required for historical narration. It is a highly sophisticated technique again, as I was telling you, because it needs some sort of training also, that every person cannot carry on this ground penetrating radar system, because they are given some information pre-training is given, and handling of the techniques is also a very important one that can be found. So these things are shown in a graphic picture as such. This ground penetrating radar system, the layers of the earth are shown here. The layers of the earth with different structures are shown here. The depth is also shown here. Identification of the place is also shown here. And they can easily realize and at what mountain, at what riverbed, at what location these aspects are to be what's called located. And this is a very easy process today. It is also not only saving time, it is also saving a lot of money. It is saving a lot of energy, lot of efforts by the archaeological scientists as far as discovery of these things are concerned. And that is why we come across by using the techniques of scientific technology and methodology, we try to realize that how history is now brought on the folds of now science and technology itself. So this aspect of analysis further gives us insight into how now we are heading towards presentation in a very, very scientific manner. Well, apart from this ground penetrating system, we have another system called as LIDAR. LIDAR is another important technique that is being followed in historical knowledge or what's called archaeological knowledge, which will provide a lot of information. These techniques are specialized aspects. Again, we need to have some important knowledge about the process of this LIDAR system, which will also guide us to understand the very components and then complexities involved in that. So LIDAR is a remote sensing technology that uses lasers to create high releases of impulse of maps of landscapes. These techniques can reveal previously hidden archaeological pits as ancient roads and buildings, etc. Now, this is one of the methods that was used as far as Grand Trunk Road was concerned. The ancient Silk Road was concerned. The ancient Silk Road and the Grand Trunk Road, which were considered to be the main links between East and the West, between the European nations and then Asia, and then what's called China, etc., were all being discovered because of this LIDAR system only. Now we have these aspects practically seen even in military system today. Now LIDAR system and the movement of the vehicles and goods, etc., and then targeting of the vehicles at pinpoint levels in the military system is also being used because of the LIDAR system that is being said. This is called LIDAR is considered to be light detection and ranging system that is called as. Is a remote sensing technology that uses lasers that measures distance between the sensor and the ground or other objects. And it's so accurate. It's so accurate. You cannot hide any information or any material for that matter from the from this technology, because eyesight or what is called human oral or then what's called practical aspect of excavations may miss you many things. Your laborious work may go waste here, but that is not the case here, because LIDARs will sense everything on the basis of the sensors only, and the sensors will give you and protect you from all the other lacunas that are there and present the information that is required for the development of historical knowledge. Imagine for a while, we were merely concentrating on some exponent of learning. Some people have spoken something, whether they have followed it on the basis of principles of science and technology was not known to us. But now people are very, very intelligent. The students are more advanced than us many times because they have the knowledge of all these things, and though they can even challenge some of the teachers who do not have the information of this sort. And that is why we need to update ourselves. We need to have the knowledge. If not technically proven ourselves to the usage of these techniques, at least we should know the theoretical aspect of this so that we can present them the satisfactory answer to say that how far history is a science. History is a science, as it has been spoken, no less and no more. Well, we can say that history has the depth and then what's called the credibility of everything that can be spoken as a reality on the basis of what is available to us. You cannot simply wash out by saying that I cannot say the movement history as such, movement of the civilizations, how they came from one region to another region, why they occupied this region only, why they, at what time they stayed here, till what time they sustained there, and then why they continued or they extinguished, everything are spoken because of the usage of the ladder system, because now aspects are proven to us in that contextual format only. Well, this is what's called the similes of what is considered to be LiDAR mapping and then what's called real mapping as such. What is being shown here and how it is being realistically proven here or shown here. By this picture, you are going to prove that how far you cannot simply erase what is considered to be historical doubting as such. There is nothing like speculation here. Everything is concrete here, and concrete formats are shown in two different maps. One map is something that is been LiDAR generated. Another map is something that is real generated. Everything is composed. On the basis of this only, they try to identify what is the real structure, how they existed, and what were the structures which were there in earlier days or ancient period can be seen here. There is nothing skeptical here. There is nothing like what is called not to proven here. So we have such a technology, such a methodology is there today, and these methods are used in the adaptation of historical narration and history. That way is a very, very important subject today. Like they can compete with any, not only social sciences, but even pure sciences also. And that is where we come across the usage of science and technology in historical research is occupying a very predominant role here. So we cannot lag behind as far as not using these science techniques, because they are very much important. Well, we come across, there are so many other things like what's called natural sciences. Natural sciences such as geology, biology, climatology can prove important insights into these environment aspects. For example, studies of ice roads into the rings can provide data on past climatic patterns while structuring. Like we come across that when there is going to be a rain, when there is going to be a tempest, when there is going to be a weather condition change, all these things are now considered to be very, very important. Now we can say that we are predicting. No, sitting at one place, suppose I am sitting in Bangalore, I can see the weather conditions of Europe. I can see the weather conditions somewhere in Hong Kong. I can see weather condition in Chennai. I can see that in Delhi or Bengal for that matter. And that is all because of the development of these scientific analysis, which is very, very important from the historical point of view also, not only of present day, but you can go back to 100 years back and you can say that how conditions existed at that time based on some calculations which are now proved by the scientific data analysis only. So we have that system of analysis, which is considered to be a very prominent aspect, so much so that history is not lagging behind. History is a science. History is a science in all its practicality, because now historical data is not merely without a substance and a proving, without a grounding for that matter. Every aspect of science is applied, utilized here in science, and scientific knowledge is rather considered to be a very significant one in the present format. And that is why history of the present day is not merely a history, it is a history of the future, we can say. History is not concentrating merely on past, because past aspects are only for revelation of the future, and now science is helping us in that way to predict many things based on historical past into future. We have digital humanities that are there, very much important from the point of view of storing the material. These digital humanities use computerization and then methods to analyze the visualize historical data. That is very much important. Otherwise, all the data would have been erased. Include text meaning, geospatial analysis, and network system, etc. So these informations are very much a product of usage of history only, and they are analyzed here for the development of course of historical developments only, and separation of various aspects of historical periodization. And we also see through that how for this timing and what's called textual aspects are also processed here. Well, we have the text mining. Text mining is something that is a scientific process and a method that is purely seen in what is considered to be historical data today. Text mining is a technique that involves using computational text techniques to what is called contract meaningful information from large collections of the data. We'll have so many combined data put together to cull out from that only that information that is required. Like, for example, you cannot separate one information without going through some 500 pages, but that is not the case today. Now you can pinpoint on the basis of certain particular vocabulary, certain concepts only, and these concepts will make you to pick up only those things. If you have got 1,000 pages of information, you want only one particular aspect of information. By using this text mining, you can say that directly you can go to that, skip all those other pages that are not relevant to you, and you can pinpoint only 99th page where you have that information. That much of accuracy, that much of scientific progress we have realized that wasting time and then going through unnecessary things for our analyzation are all skipped together today. So this type of information that is available Probably you must have understood there was a story when I used to learn. When Swami Vivekananda went to Chicago, he went to a library where he took a book and then he passed through some of the pages. Within some half an hour, he returned that book back. When the librarian asked, "What did you see in half an hour?" He said, "You asked me anything from any page." Then he was so accurate. That was his caliber. We cannot, what is called, be like computers, but that is not the case today. If you want some that information to be culled out from any corner, from any aspect of that, you can say that this text mining is a very important thing. Historians are using it to their effectiveness because hundreds and hundreds and thousands of volumes of books are there. And these volumes of books cannot be pondered over because it will take a lifetime for anybody for going through all this information. Whereas if you have this scientific method of text mining, you can go to that keyword, use that keyword, and then you can find any information that you require. Well, just even today, if you go to, I told you in my earlier presentation, just go to archives.co.in, that is American archive system, where you have to have only some keywords, concepts you have to use. If you use that concept, like for example, Chandogya Upanishad. Like for example, if you say Chandogya Upanishad, Upanishads are there. There are so many Upanishads. Puranas are there. 18 Puranas are there. You do not have to search for all these. Whatever component you want to say, just look into that. If you go to Kautilya Hatha Shastra, just put some components that show the pages that are displayed. So these things are very, very important from that angle. And we come across that this text mining is a very significant one. And this text mining is making us to realize all the information that is required. Here I have a small, well, what I mean to say is that you must have gone to an airport or some hospital or something like that, where the doors are closed. But nobody will be there to attend to you. Nobody will be there to open the door. But as soon as you approach a particular point, the door will automatically open. This is only an example I'm giving you. And this concept of text mining will select that image, and that image now is translated into the textual format where material that is found in any written form can be seen. Here, the picture I show you, like what is called how there were intersections. Traffic intersections were there from all the corners. From 4 angles, there used to be moving vehicles in a high-speed manner. But when I come to juncture, that what is called text mining system will make you, system will make you to realize and to check you, and then what is called to avoid that accident by not crossing on each other. So this system has made us to realize even the information relating to history also. Historical data is considered to be a very important, significant one. And we have this concept which is considered to be geospatial analysis. This geospatial analysis is a technique that involves using geo information to analyze and understand complex spatial relationships like archaeological research. Geospatial analysis can be used to sort the distribution of artifacts, map ancient landscapes and settlements, understand the relation between different archaeological features and all these things. So, which in turn is nothing but contributory aspects of history. So, we come across this geospatial analysis. The development of a science like geospatial analysis has led to some of the most revolutionary aspects of intersections of knowledge that are regarded to be very significant from the point of view of data analysis, data storage, and categorization of data, and then usage of the data whenever it is required. In historical method, you come across the third methodology. The stage of the third methodology, we are going to find facts. Facts are to be grouped. Grouping of the facts we come across. There you have to cull out things which are required only for your purpose as far as presentation is concerned. So here we come across this concept is going to be very, very useful to you. And that has been presented to us in this what's called geospatial analysis system in a geographical manner, in an archaeological manner. We come across particles that are there, zooming, we are going to topography and wetlands, that how earth formation has led to, and now a geologist or a historian need not have to go and search anything here. If he is interested in only the concept of requirement of information on topography, he can just enter into the third stage where he can demonstrate the information that is required for that. Like, for example, you can say imagery aspect of that over that landscape can also be understood. The formation of city structure, like we come across today, what is considered to be the urbanization process of urbanization. Like, for example, if you go to Delhi, Delhi was constructed by Pala rulers, or what's called Anangapal. Anangapal in somewhere 768 AD. Later on, it went on so many changes. Even before that, we come across it was Hastinapura. Hastinapura, or what's called some Mahabharata city. And later it became what's called a historical city. From there on, we are going to find that how when the Muslims, or particularly when Qutbuddin Aibak came, there was a different structure. And it went on developing. By the time we come to Mughals, it became different city. And now it is a different city. Here also we have old Delhi city and new Delhi city. And now how to separate and how to segregate that on the basis of age and space is a very important thing. And we have this geospatial analysis as far as urbanization process is concerned. And we are going to have so much of information. We owe a lot as far as the development of this technique is concerned and utilization of scientific methodology. So here we have material sciences are available to us. Material sciences are those sciences which are materialistic in material sense, can provide important insights into the technology and material culture of the past. For example, we come across what's called metal objects, can reveal details about their composition and the production of methods, which can shield light on the trade and all these things. We have the swords, we have techniques of warfare, we have the guns and so on and so forth, the swords and so on and forth, the spears, daggers, and many more things. So these things, how they were used, what were the compositions which were used, at what part of time, what period of time that was used. Evolution of these different types of weapons also can be found. Whether a human being, when he was a food hunter, what was his style of hunting, and how he used what type of weapons. Later, when moving differently from that age to other age, what all happened, transitions that took place in the historical process are all understood here by the realization of these material sciences. And these material sciences are today used as one of the most important aspects of the development of historical knowledge. History is developed into these aspects because of these advancement of knowledge from the scientific method or knowledge of that. So we have various metals. We have various metals at our disposal. They may look what's called common to us, but the historical significance of these metals is that what was the beginning of that, how they evolved, how these things developed from one angle to the present angle is a very important thing. The evolution process that we come across is a fractionary aspect of the development of historical knowledge, and this is not only for the auxiliaries of human culture and human civilization, but also it gives us merits into the development of historical course of needs that are developed into history and writing of history. We have, as I was telling you in my earlier class, we have somebody has put on the mic. Can you kindly mute your audio?
Basaya Matapati sir.
Kindly mute your audio. We shall discuss later on once presentation is over. So we come across this concept of carbon-14 method. Carbon-14 method, and this carbon-14 method I told you in my this one also, and we have that concept of that in a small video. You can use that how for this carbon-14 method is what's called practically used as far as the development of historical the producers of this program. But anyway, we come across this very carbon-14 method in its earlier stages into carbon-12 and 13. How materials are processed into extracting the carbon existence, and then values and means that are found in that carbon-14 are utilized for the dating of historical information. And this is a very important procedure that all the history students and history learners and teachers will have to be aware of that. So the best examples of carbon dating in India historical scenario is what I have given some examples. Like, for example, Indus Valley civilization. You cannot have the information about Indus Valley civilization because we don't have any literature for that matter. Only on the basis of the remains that are available to us, on the basis of the material that is available to us. So the material culture is presenting us some information, and that a layman cannot identify. If you find one brick, that brick itself is only for us, for a layman, is only a brick. But that brick, understanding that brick is a very important process. And that process will lead us to realize some of the important components. Similarly, we come across some of the Buddhist relics also. The relics of Buddha, for that matter, the Gandhara school of art, the Mathura school of art, the Gupta school of art, the Shatavahana school of art, the process of what is called transition and the development of various Buddha images also are considered to be very significant one. And every historian owes a lot as far as the dating of these things are concerned. So carbon 14 method and the process of analyzation leading to the historical material and knowledge is a very important thing. We have Iron Age sites are there all over South India and many parts of Middle India also. We have so many perspectives of understanding as far as the existence of human settlements at various levels and on the banks of rivers also, and the lifestyles they led and the process under which they carried on their lifestyles and what was the nomadic life that they did. And then these things are very important. The ancient cities, like also the Taxila that has been spoken here, for example, and various other cities also. So all these information, if you want to have a concrete aspect of historical narration from the point of view of scientific procedure, then we are following these methodology. If you go to Ajanta and Ellora caves, I have a picture of that, Ajanta, Ellora, how that has been viewed. And we come across aspects of what is called development of this Ajanta and Ellora. And they not only create a picture scene for us, but also arise curiosity in the midst of the jungles. These what's called great structures were there, pieces of art were there. And these pieces of art will demonstrate the kind of excellence that was achieved at one point of time in the midst of such what's called rugged nature. And you can have this what's called view for a while, and you can understand that how now historical information is presented in such a beautiful and a wonderful manner, just what's called learning and bringing every curious learner to go into the historical placement and then presentation in a historical classroom. I'm sorry I could not show you the complete video because of the time constraint. However, you can understand, see the wonderful capturing of this imagery through satellite system. You cannot capture such a wide area of things into one capturing by any lens or any type of camera at your disposal. Well, this imagery that we have today at our disposal is being used not only for that, even for the mapping of the kingdoms also. We have what is called tools of marine archaeology today. Marine archaeology is a part of that, and now people are going inside the waters also. So understanding things which are there hidden inside the waters or immersed inside the water are brought out in a present format. So we, for the construction of history, we are using that data. We have what's called sonar technology that is there at our disposal. Remote operated vehicles are there very much available to us. And we have all diving equipments also, which can go deep into nearly some 150 feet or 150 meters. So that much of technology has been developed today. And some of the most important discoveries that are made relating to ancient India, cities of ancient India, and also some aspects that are very considered to be very important are also developed here. How they conduct this course of the archaeological excavation, both at the marine archaeology as well as land archaeology, are significant, which are considered to be some of the contrasting aspects compared to history based on only source material written by some historian, source material written by some writer. So we come across that this concept of marine archaeology or land archaeology, where you come across underwater material detectors are there. You can see through everything through the glass system that has been available to us. We have sediment cores are there, which are analyzed today and dated as far as what's called periodization of history is concerned and the development and evolution is concerned. We have also got photogrammetry system is there, where all these techniques are used and brought into a concrete format, and accurately informations are projected here. Unless there is any purpose of narrating, historians will be free from any bias here because they are having every information at their fingertips. So the use of these tools and technologies allow marine archaeologists to explore and understand the rich history and culture heritage that beneath the waters that can be seen here. So we come across that way, science is considered to be one of the tools today to be used for the enrichment of history through archaeology. And we have so many examples of marine archaeology that are at our disposal. We have Dwaraka, we have Shore Temple, we have Bet Dwaraka, etc., are all considered. Some questions are there. Some people even argue against that. But however, they cannot deny the fact that these are all some of the most important what's called discoveries that are made. So I am just hurrying up because of the time constraint. I have to give you what's called 10 minutes time for even discussion also. So we come across like that, the Lothal city that is considered to be the harbor city, first harbor city that was developed during Indus Valley civilization. We have got the concept of Ramasetu. Ramasetu has run into a lot of controversy also. Whatever it is, we do not go into the controversies as such, but however, that how marine archaeology and land archaeology have occupied the what's called a definite place and very important component as far as the development of archaeological sites and explorations are concerned. We have these tools that are found inside the waters that are there, and we have some of the excavations that are being carried on here, and they are all what's called considered to be of significant level as far as proving the point of what is considered to be tradition, history, or what we realize as only a mere belief. What things which we cannot be seen here through our what's called naked eye, we are seeing that they are being immersed here. Well, we have some schools of thought, and these schools of thought may be accepted, may not be accepted. They're different thing. But the technique that has been adopted, the science and the concept of science and technology that can be used in history is something that we cannot debate on that. And that is why we realize that they are all very, very significant from that point of view. So here also we come across the best example of making boundaries of kingdoms and then what is called the larger empires, etc. So various distribution of material for of the different rulers, etc. are all being now discovered because of the technology only. Ashoka cities that we are going to find, many of them are found in northern Karnataka, and we come across how they have been distributed at one centered or concentrated on only one point. Why they have not been distributed elsewhere is something that is a big question that the historians are what's called facing today. We have answers for that today because of these aspects only. The fortifications, how these fortifications were conducted or done on the hillocks on what is called the top of the hills, etc., is something that is amazing. Even today, with all our scientific knowledge, we are not in a position to do some of those wonderful things. But those were days when such things were done. The extension of the Gupta Empire, extension of the Mauryan Empire, or what is called the Mughal Empire for that matter, everything now is brought under one circular aspect of the scientific procedure only. And now we come across that what was ancient India. These pictures are only imaginary pictures. Don't be serious about what's called what I'm showing here, because of the thing is only for utilization of the science and technology. I am showing here because the kingdoms which are spread across at one point of time, shows that how far there was a greater India as such. But now, over a period of time, all these things have changed. But now mapping is considered to be a very important thing. And these mappings have become a very significant development as far as that is concerned. The land surveying that we are going to have, geographic and information system, that is GIS. GIS is very much known to you and me also. Now everybody's life is involved in GIS only. Wherever you go in your car, when you drive your car, now you display your this GIS system for routes and also for identification of places or what's called the target or location, etc. Now we have gone to that extent. Similarly, in historical information also, identification of the places of historical significance and then what's called routes, etc. have become very important. And these are all done through what's called scientific knowledge and technology, usage of technology only. That's how we come across that there is so much of information available to us. There are so many other what's called slides also. I just limit here because of the time constraint. Now, history is not considered to be a subject at a dark level. History is not considered to be an imaginary one. History is not what is considered to be a subject which is spoken without any proof, concrete things. We have literature, we have epigraphy, we have numismatics, we have folklore history, we have authentic sources, we have traces, we have marks, but merely analyzing them by an expert historian, probably that is required. Anyway, it is at the mindset of the historian only. But however, using technology, using science, and utilizing some of these materials into the construction of historical aspects will definitely give you a added impetus as far as projection of history is concerned. And that is why we say that today history need to be understood. History has to be viewed only from the angle of performing history or utilization history or what's called history usage. Every day in and day out, history is being used, whether you accept it or not. But history is in usage, unlike there were some saying that economics is used every day, political science is used every day. And now we can say that history is very much at its usage. And historian, as a student of history, I am proud enough to say that now we are also on par with any person who can pose that he can speak anything authoritatively on any subject of the past, because we are now helped and supported by science as such. I request, it is my ardent appeal to all of you as reference course presenters and what's called delegates, to see at least some scientific knowledge is imparted to your student. In our classes, make use of this slide system. PowerPoint presentation is very much required. Generally, we lack that because historians history students are very, very lazy, because we come with some notes and then we prepare some notes and then present. And that should not happen, because if at all you want to attract our student, if at all you want to give some information that is useful to any society, and now compete enough to what's called go through the problems of challenges of life, it's our responsibility. We should make history more interesting. We should make history more fruitful. I rather close my presentation here, and I have my own again some of the what's called source material. You can make note of this source material. I've also used. I'm thankful to Wikipedia. Wikipedia also I have used. And thank you for the presentation. Thank you for listening. And now I rather